If you want to know that the male is mature, you look at the tip of the male papillae should be red at the tip here, and it should be able to touch at least the anal fin. The anal fin is this one. What you see here, this is the anal fin. So if this genital papillae is long enough to touch the anal fin, then it is mature for breeding. You can use it for breeding.
Surgery is normally done on the male catfish to extract the sperm cells for the propagation. A small cut is usually done beside the pelvic bone towards the head for fast recovery, and after a small finger is dipped in to come out with the testicles for the sperms to be extracted. Odhiambo explains that one should be very careful when doing this to avoid removing other body parts.
Before you make the cut, where do you make the cut? If you touch here, you'll feel a bone. A bone toward this side, you avoid this part. So you'll slide your hand through until you don't feel any bone, because if you cut there, you will miss the testes. So you cut from like few centimeters from the pelvic bone. So here, you will make a small cut here. So he has made a small hole where he's going now to put his finger. Just by the feel of the hand, you should be able to tell this is the testis and this is not the testis, maybe it's another organ. So you don't insert your hand and come out with the intestine. You should really know, this one needs somebody who knows the feeling of the testis. So with his one little finger, with the closed eyes, you are able to take out the testis or the gonads. So here we go.
Once the one side of the testis is out, use a clean vial to prick the testes for the sperms to come out. You can also remove the second testis and prick it depending on how much sperms you need, but you just need few drops for fertilization to take place depending on the size of female ovules.
He will tilt like this and prick the vial, and the sperms will come out. Yeah, so this is now the sperms coming out. You should not be afraid because it heals very fast. In 6 months you can use the male again. You just need few drops for fertilization to happen. But some very big females you can really harvest a lot of milk from them. This is actually a lot and can fertilize up to 1 kilogram of egg.
After you're done removing the sperms from the second testes, you're advised to store the sperm cells in the fridge because of the cool temperatures. High temperatures will lead to loss of hatchability levels from the sperm cells.
Now before we use it, we can put this in the fridge. The sperms, they are live organisms. They need a good temperature. So if you expose it to a very high temperature for a very long time, you are going to lose it's called the level of hatchability, because it's only the eggs that are fertilized that are going to hatch. Not all eggs hatch. So that depends with the maturity and the amount of the sperms that are alive.
Immediately you're done extracting the sperms from the testes, you'll return them inside the fish and start the process of closing the wound. When stitching, use a clean absorbent surgical thread so that you won't have to remove it from the fish. Tie 3 knots first to make it secure and start running firm stitches on the wound. You have to be fast to ensure the fish does not wake up while on surgery. All the materials and equipment used have to be clean to keep infections away from the fish. Finally, make a blanket stitch, which is the final stitch.
This is now the second, the surgical thread. It's adsorbable. You will not have to remove the stitch. It's not a synthetic thread. You do the final knot. And then you start making the running stitches. You have to be very fast because there's a patient on the table.
What is remaining is the recovery process of the fish. Excess anesthesia hinders this process as the fish might take even more than 10 hours to wake up. The fish is returned inside fresh water and you must help it recover by moving it around the water, opening the gills for it to breathe, allowing fresh water to get inside the bloodstream. It should not take long before the fish starts showing signs of consciousness.
So that's the recovery process, and I think the fish has recovered. You can see it's now swimming. It's now flapping. That is good. Now you can return him in the water. Very clean water like this. You can see him now really struggling and about to swim off.
The propagation will not be complete without the female eggs. Pick a mature female catfish and squeeze the ovaries and completely drain the 2 ovaries to avoid the remaining eggs from clogging, which will create a lump and you'll never use it again.
She has 2 ovaries from both sides, and you have to make sure that they're completely drained out of eggs, because if you leave some eggs inside the ovary, it will clog and create a lump, and that lump you will never use the female again. Now this one you see is slightly above a quarter kilogram of egg, and a kilogram of catfish egg will give you like 400 to 600,000 babies.
You can now mix the sperms from the male catfish with the ovaries from the female catfish. Mix them with a soft hand carefully to avoid crushing the eggs.
You press it completely so that you have a lot of milk, as much as you can get from this process. And then, with a soft hand as mine, you mix. Ladies cannot be allowed to do this with their artificial nails. So you do this nicely.
Add psychological solution to the mixture. The psychological solution will create a water-like environment for the eggs for fertilization to take place.
We are going to mix this physiological solution. Physiological solution is a salt solution made from 9 grams of salt dissolved in 1 liter of water, so that to create an environment of the body of the fish, they have that salt level. Ni ile maji tu kama ile ya nini yenye mtu huongezwa kwa hospitali. It's a salt solution. It's just the same environment as the water where the fish, the eggs are going to.
Once the mixture starts attaching on the thin or on your hand, then the clamping has begun, and that's an indicator that the fertilization has been a success. Now they are ready for the artificial substrate, which is an incubator for the eggs.
If you see me touching like this, they start attaching on my hand, then it means the fertilization was a success. If you look at the surface of the eggs, they are clamping together, and that means that the fertilization has happened, and we are just going now to incubate the eggs in the incubator. He's going to put them in the artificial substrate.
Mr. Odhiambo brings us to the end of the show with a piece of advice to any farmer or aspiring fish farmer.
I know there are so many hatcheries outside there. Please identify quality seedlings to buy. Don't just buy anything in the name of catfish. Buy anything above 3 grams. Anything less than 3 grams will be uneconomical, and it will not be a profitable venture at all. So go for good size, which is quality with good survival. That is the advice to farmers who want to grow catfish.
And that's all we had time for in today's edition. Keep watching KTN Farmers TV as we'll be bringing you more stories on Get It Right.